Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV Walking Dead podcast, Season 4, Episode 2, Infected. I'm your host, Dom, and with me I have John and Cleo.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Good.
Peachy keen.
Peachy keen?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's kind.
So, you guys like this episode?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Action time.
Was it better than the first episode?
I liked the first episode.
You like the first episode more than this one?
No.
I like this one better. Yeah.
Yeah, things are just starting to get even more interesting. We had not thousands, probably around 40 people die is my estimate for the body count.
Maybe 24.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, kids too. Sadly enough. I mean.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, all the bodies were confined to D block, so that
Yeah.
wasn't more than 24 people. Or it wasn't
Maybe.
much more than 24 people.
Maybe.
It was a lot though.
It was a lot.
Sure.
It was.
Yeah.
So, once again, we saw we saw someone feeding the walkers at the fence. It appears that they're feeding it from the inside. I don't know how else you would feed them, because you have to be inside to feed it through the fence to the walkers. So,
Yeah.
who do you think is actually feeding them?
Who?
Who?
I don't.
Do you
Yeah.
do you think it's that girl, the young girl that was naming the zombies?
Oh
No.
yeah. Well.
Oh, I actually didn't think of that. Because I immediately thought sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good song.
R.I.P. Beastie Boys.
Yeah, no, I immediately thought that someone was doing it deliberately.
Yeah. I mean, now that you're kind of mentioning it, it does make a little sense that it would be the girl. But I mean, they were smart enough to leave the rats at the fence, like the beheaded rat fence, just so that the zombies would be attracted to the corpses.
Right.
So, if she's like that psychotic, I don't know if she'd have the wherewithal to really think that through, or was it just clumsiness, or because it seemed like whoever did it wanted the fence to collapse, obviously.
Yeah.
So they left the corpses there. So
I thought the fence was going down this episode.
Oh,
It had
I
to.
really thought it was gonna.
It's going to.
Yeah,
Definitely gonna happen. They've already
I mean,
set
it's
that
got-
in motion, but yeah,
but it was so close this time. So
it
Yeah.
was. So, do you think the rats have something to do, and those zombies, and maybe even the person inside sabotaging might have something to do with the flu that's been going around?
Yeah. I mean, Herschel said that the rats and pigs and birds, spread disease. So it's either... I don't know, because I feel like the flu might also be, like, the saboteur, because... I don't know, maybe I'm just extremely paranoid, but I keep thinking the governor. Like,
Ooh.
it's his fault.
There-
He's doing this
The
somehow.
governor is going to be on this season. We're definitely having governor. We just don't know when. We don't know where, but he will
Right.
be here this season.
yeah,
He's just gonna pop up, surprise, motherfucker!
Yeah,
I
definitely.
am the flu. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be very nice if it was all cozily linked together like that, but you never know
Yeah.
with this kind of show. It seems pretty likely though that it's and just they might have found like a disease-ridden something or other somewhere and just dumped it in the water supply, or who knows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of possibilities going on there. I really don't know which one is the most plausible at this stage.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody's motive other than, like you said, maybe the governor.
I mean, these are all people from, what's the town?
Woodbury.
Woodbury.
Yeah, it's
So-
not just
but these-
Woodbury. It's also people that they have discovered along the way
Right.
over the winter and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah,
not
but
just confined to Woodbury, but these are all people. This is their home. This is where they're living. So
Yeah.
they're
They-
risking themselves as well to get sick if that's the case. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's someone in there that's loyal to the governor.
And they found
Who
the one
somehow-
flu shot.
Yeah. Sorry,
You think the governor planted somebody in to find, so they picked him up and welcomed them into the community.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably just extremely paranoid, but
It's
I'm
definitely
just
possible. That's something the governor would do. He's crafty like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could do that. It's more
I
than
am
capable.
just looking for anywhere that he's gonna come back.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll see.
So we also saw Tyrese and Sarah. They were set up real early on with this strong connection. You kind of thought they was going somewhere, and then they kill her off. Why do you think they killed her off so early?
You know, a lot of the other romances on this show like really lasted a while. I feel like, you know, you had like the Shane and Andrea thing going on forever. I mean, obviously Rick and Lori, and I guess in Andrea and the governor, that was an ongoing relationship. It was kind of like a shock to the system to have like something so cute and tender and loving just gone, you know.
Yeah.
and
So-
also, Tyrese is a good soul, and I feel like this is gonna maybe not send him over the edge, but certainly set him off.
Yeah.
He's gonna. I think he might go a little vindictive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this. Yeah.
He's going to want answers.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, so we see at the very, very end of the episode, the body looks like it was dragged. Right? It was dragged outside, and it was burned.
Mm-hmm.
I originally had thought that they knew they were infected and, like, crawled and dragged themselves out the door and set themselves on fire to try to they didn't want to be a walker or something like that, but as I was talking to you guys in pre-show, that does not seem like the case at all. So, do you think this is going to send Tyrese over the edge, and he's going to try to find out who this saboteur is?
Oh God, yeah. I couldn't see him not. He's gonna. I mean, he already lost it. It's. I mean, it's gonna take everything they can to try to calm him down. Because, I mean, as gentle as a soul as he is, he has a temper, especially when something he cares about is threatened. So he's good with a hammer. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looked like those bodies were dragged, and when I first saw it, that was not what I was expecting it to cut to. Those burned bodies. Yeah. Because first I thought, like, were they already dead when they dragged them? Because, you know, the blood was everywhere, so it might have already poured out of their eyes. Walkers when they got dragged. There's just a lot of questions around that.
Yeah. I didn't know, maybe even if they had turned and they walked out there, but then when I saw the burned bodies, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Something's going on here.
It's such a weird thing to... You could have done anything else to them. Stabbed them in the face. But you burn them. That's such a weird choice.
Yeah. But it would be a good way to annihilate any disease on them.
Yeah.
So,
This is true.
yeah.
So do you think it could be like Rick, maybe?
Who did that? I don't think Rick did that.
You don't think it's Rick?
No. Honestly, when I first saw that they were burned, I thought it might have been Carol.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Carol just popped in my head. But,
Probably because you don't want to see her anywhere near Daryl, right?
And then there's the tea. I don't think Rick could have done it because I think he was outside with Carl at the time anyway. So.
yeah.
Cleo's in denial, Carol and Daryl.
Yes, no. They're perfect.
How would you even like combine their? You know how like all you get Brangelina and
Yeah, it would be
Daryl, like
Daryl, Carol.
My favorite one for
they're already the same name.
Scott Karen. Yeah. If you
Daryl, Daryl, DeCarol.
DeCarol. That's it.
DeCarol.
DeCarol.
So we also saw Rick when he was working at the garden and stuff like that. He's staring off at the dirt. He's looking back at his garden farm thing going on. So do you think he knows that it's inevitable? He's got to return back to violence and he can't keep up the peace anymore.
Yeah, he's desperately clinging to it. It's because he sees the walkers are getting more around the fence, and Carl says, "Oh, they need help," and totally like just ignores that he asked that question.
And then you see the fence start going down a little later into the episode. And Rick's got to be like, I probably should have done something then.
Right.
I don't think he's thinking that yet. I think right there, he's thinking, I don't want to start this again. I like farming. I don't want to have to keep, killing walkers.
I mean, it's not like Rick could log on to Facebook and play Farmville or anything. He's got to actually grow the crops himself.
And I think that's good because he can just pour himself in the manual labor and doesn't have to think about the violence.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it's a nice little hobby that he had. He kind of needed it after everything he's been through.
It's like a soul cleansing for him a little bit. Yeah. Just go back to Mother Earth and tend to her, as you see.
Exactly. So the cell block kind of erupts. Cell block D, the virus spread. That was like one of the very first scenes that we saw, and I'm terrible with all the characters' names, but there was that girl that walked through the cell block. She's looking around in there, and when she went into the shower area, I was convinced that she was going to get attacked by a walker.
Sarah,
yeah.
Okay. So Sarah goes and looks in, then she goes back to bed, and then the cell block kind of like erupted, and luckily she didn't get bit at that time or infected or anything at that time, which we already said she dies later on, but it was just like, what was going, like, what did you guys think of that? What was your first reaction to that?
They were most certainly setting up that, typical suspense, like, oh, we just saw her with Tyrese. Oh, no, don't kill her. No, don't kill off Tyrese. And then they didn't. But then it was sort of just like, she's still in danger because the walker's right next door.
Yeah.
It's like, just to keep stepping up the suspense.
And I kind of liked how they had the little domino effect in there. So, like, the one walker walked in and bit the guy's throat.
And there's two walkers.
A surprisingly smart zombie, to say the least, so he couldn't scream.
The voice box.
Yeah. It was really cool. I really liked it, that it was like this very insidious little, I guess it was like a slow roll kind of thing that just built up into this horrible snow boulder of death.
And now this is a very Walking Dead scene, unlike the whole helicopter falling through the roof.
Yeah. The action-adventure Walking Dead, yeah.
Yeah, this is a good scene, and I'm very glad that it was there, because it made me feel a little bit better about this season.
It's a lot more of a slow, methodical kill than zombies popping through the roof. I'm waiting for zombies with assault rifles to come running through a building or something.
No! I'm sorry, I'm so mad when games and stuff give zombies weapons. I'm like, no!
I know, right?
I think in the first season there was a zombie with an axe, if I recall correctly.
I believe he was dragging an axe.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
He didn't lift it up to swing it or anything, but he was dragging it. I don't know if it was an axe or if it was a sledgehammer or something, but I remember him dragging. It could have even been a shovel. I'm almost positive it was an axe, though.
Yeah.
But, I definitely remember him dragging something.
Yeah.
But also when all that commotion is going on, you see Michonne, she was about to leave, and then like people start yelling and all kinds of stuff. So she comes to turn around. Carl sees her like whip around. He sees all the action going on. So he tries to open the door for her, and I guess he's not really prepared for it. He doesn't have his gun anymore, and Michonne ends up getting injured. Carl jumps out to try to save her, grabs a rifle, and he almost reluctantly kills the walker with the rifle. What do you think was going through Carl's mind at this time?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It could have been a number of things.
I mean, it's either he that that Rick didn't want him, using guns anymore. I mean, it could have been that hesitation. I mean, it could have been the fact that maybe he wasn't so sure of his aim anymore.
I think it could have been he was hesitant because he hadn't touched a gun in a while, and then once he shot the walker, he either remembered how it felt or he had flashbacks from when he killed the kid and had to shoot his mom, Yeah.
So. He could have even been worried about disobeying his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gun thing, and I don't know. It was pretty crazy. I mean, he did what he had to do, and he
Just like Rick.
Yeah, exactly. He reacted well.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I forget, when was it in the episode where Daryl handed a gun to Rick, and Rick?
Yeah, that was
during
before. Was it before all this, or was it during? Or no, it was during the sweep of the D block, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, it was when they first heard shots, and that's when they first went into D block to try to get everybody.
Okay, yeah. So you had Daryl pass off the gun to
away
Rick.
from some guy gives it to Rick, and then Rick immediately gives it to someone else, and shoos him away.
So, like, it's inevitable. Rick knows at some point. Why do you think he's fighting it still at this point?
He still has hope he can go back to being a farmer.
Do you think he's still clutching onto that? Like, people are dying all around him at this point. Like, he can't just be this like, Rick is supposed to be the leader. He can't be passive. He can't be a passive leader. That doesn't work very well.
He doesn't, but he really doesn't want to be anymore. He really just wants to. I mean, that's him trying to fade into the background. I think he doesn't want that role of leader anymore. I'm assuming that's why there was a council formed in the first place. And he also doesn't. He's afraid of himself becoming violent again, because when he was violent, he turned into a bit of a. Well, he had a bit of a psychotic break for one thing, and he also was just a ruthless, almost a tyrant at some point. So he's really
the dictatorship.
Yeah, the dictatorship. He's just really afraid of what he's capable of when he's violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's afraid that he's going to lead Carl down that path again.
Exactly.
He's going to lose his son.
Yeah. So, speaking of losing people, we had Lizzie and her younger sister, Lizzie's the older one. Lizzie and her younger sister, lose their father during the D block thing. Like, at first you see his arm get bit, and Carol, she goes to amputate it until she sees the bite on the back of his neck, and realizes he's beyond saving. So
which is hilarious. Which is hilarious, because she's like, I'm gonna have to amputate your arm with the tiniest knife that I have right here.
Right. It looked like what the guy cut himself with in 182 hours or whatever that movie was.
Oh, yeah.
Like little dull pocket knife. That's what it looked like to me. Yeah. But so Carol, she sees that, she decides, all right, he can't be saved at this point. So she goes, and his dying wish was to talk to his daughters again. So she goes and gets the daughters, and now she was the one teaching the daughters how to use weapons and knives and all this stuff. So she's trying to teach them that, and then Lizzie wants to be the one. She steps up. She wants to be the one that kills her father, and then she realizes she can't do it, and she kind of runs off. And Carol kills her, or Carol kills the father, and the girls are there, but then they run off. Lizzie goes and immediately goes to the fence, and that's when she sees, what was it, Scott?
Yeah.
I forget the name, Nick. She sees her walker that she named Nick, the one with the name tag, was dead, and she got really upset. More upset, I thought, than when her father died. It seemed really off to me, and at that moment, her sister said something to Carol when Carol chased after them, that Lizzie was kind of messed up. So what do you think actually happened with Lizzie? Why would her sister say that?
Psychology time.
Yeah, this is John's.
So, all right. First thing is, when she was asked to kill her father, when she offered to kill her father, she definitely had a panic attack. And her younger sister, I mean, and this is definitely not the first time she's had them, because her younger sister was taking her to the side and doing a little breathing exercise thing to try to take her out of it. So obviously, she's been dealing with this for probably most of her life. And the fact that she took off outside, and she's more upset about Nick, the zombie Nick, than her father. I mean, she was kind of, in a way, avoiding the loss of her father at that point, because that was too much to handle. But she could at least maybe try to express this sadness through Nick, the zombie. And whether that points to some kind of mental illness with her is I think it might be. I think something, or at least some kind of other trauma that happened to her, because she just couldn't. She couldn't do it. She just couldn't even look at the fact that her father was gone, and I mean, and I don't like how Carol really handled the situation either, like calling her weak.
Carol didn't understand at that point. I think when they come back to she has another conversation with them, I think she understood a little bit more.
A little bit, yeah.
But that first encounter, she didn't realize what. Yeah, exactly
I was
happened.
Actually really mad at Carol for calling her weak, because
I was like, ooh, Carol.
Be overstepping.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the girls seem younger than Carl.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like even when Carl started.
I think they're.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're around that age. Because I think Sophia probably was in between both of them.
The two, yeah. Because Lizzie, I would say maybe like 11 or 12 at the most.
Okay, so maybe she's right around Carl. So maybe there's expectations that Carol has because of what Carl is now and when he started, that he, I don't know.
Yeah, it could also be that she feels like she did her daughter a disservice by not, teaching her to be stronger.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So she's trying to put this on these girls to try to make them stronger.
Right. I mean, and if anything happens to these girls, I don't think back from it, because
or she'll just shut off completely.
She will just
wall
she
herself
will just
up.
be gone, because this is basically her second chance at being a mother almost. Right. So it's going to be a really, really interesting dynamic with the three of them, down the pike this season. I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. And speaking of mothers, we had Michonne kind of had this, I almost want to say, incident with the child. She didn't want to hold. Beth was looking after little ass kicker. And she didn't want to hold her, but it puked all over Beth. Beth had to pawn it off on Michonne. Beth goes to change, and Michonne just starts like crying, and she starts holding the baby. Like, what was up with that?
Michonne.
What do you think happened with Michonne? Why she didn't want to hold a child?
Michonne must have lost a baby. She must have had a baby of her own that she lost, either as the zombie apocalypse was happening or like.
Could have been before. I mean, it could have been a lot of things.
Because I mean, they couldn't have thrown that like Beth and Michonne in there by coincidence either.
Oh. Yeah.
They got to be doing something with the two of them.
Right.
Yeah. I mean because I knew as soon as Michonne was like, does she always cry like that? Because she was hearing the baby cry, but it didn't sound like Judith's cries. Because it like a memory sort of sound, like it was something she was recalling and not actually Judith.
Yeah.
Do you think the baby could have the flu?
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either.
I don't need a zombie baby.
That'd be
that would be really interesting.
It would be.
Because she can't walk. But
that's sad. I'm sad thinking about it.
Well, it's okay. She's not dead yet. But my thing is like, and I'm just kind of thinking of this now, like that crying thing. Like it could have been maybe when her baby might have been like in danger and she couldn't get to her or him, and she like just couldn't save the kid, and maybe it was during the zombie apocalypse or whatever, and walkers ate her baby, or who knows what happened.
Dingoes
saved
her baby.
Save her. Dingoes did it. A dingo ate your baby. But yeah, I feel like there's like regret there. It just seems like it's regret that she feels like she could have done something and she couldn't, or something like that. I don't know, but
yeah. So I don't know. We also saw Daryl and Carol share another scene together, which I know this is Cleo's favorite part of The Walking Dead. It's complete, like, if there's no Daryl Carol action, she wants nothing to do with it.
Walking Dead, it's just my strongest ship besides Maggie and
Glenn.
Boy.
I was about to call the wrong character.
That's borderline.
I'm the one that has trouble with character names. How do I remember Glenn?
She loves Glenn.
I love Glenn.
So, Carol, she basically asked Daryl if he was okay, and Daryl responded with, I have to be. So do you think that was just like a normal response to a zombie apocalypse, or do you think there was a little bit more to it?
Honestly, that's what I thought the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, it seemed like there was something else. Like, he's pushing something down.
He's not okay.
He can't deal with it at the moment because everything's happening really fast.
Because Carol's pregnant with Daryl's kid.
Uh-huh.
No, Carol be dealing with.
Yeah, he's not coping well.
Yeah, I think I think peace has really lulled everybody into this like false sense of security, and now just everything's being challenged.
I mean, you also have to remember that he did fairly recently lose his brother.
Yes.
You know, which was his only other real family connection he had for.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still coping with that. And obviously something happened with him over the winter. We don't quite know what it is, and I think it had quite a bit to do with his brother.
Yeah. He's not dealing with it well anymore, and he was saying in the first episode of the season, he's sick of losing people.
Yeah.
And maybe just because of the fact that it was in their home, that he's just, if it's not safe there, then what's he gonna do,
Yep. How'd you guys feel about Rick's? They kind of guessed that, like we had talked about, the pigs might have been carrying the flu and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What were you guys feeling toward Rick's decision to kill the pigs off and feed them to the zombies to distract them from the fence?
And that was the way it was filmed and edited was done very well, because you had no idea what was in the box until he pulls out this little piglet, and it's like, oh no.
Mm.
I thought he was going to let the pigs start running around and the zombies were going to try to chase them. But then he starts cutting their legs and...
Yeah, so they can't run away.
Yeah.
I mean, Herschel said they had to get rid of the pigs, because because one of them died. There's a strong possibility they all have the flu.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can't be keeping them around.
Nope.
So... as a last-ditch effort to stop the zombies from crashing down that fence, that was Rick's idea.
2 birds with 1 stone.
Hated it.
But that was like the old Rick. That was like one of his ingenious go for broke. We got to fix this ideas.
Yeah.
So he still got it.
He knows what he has to do, and he'll do it. But he does not like it.
Yeah.
Daryl said in the first place.
It even kind of went back to like what he said in the first episode about naming the pigs and stuff. This is why you can't get attached to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You could tell he wasn't completely getting he wasn't getting enjoyment out of it at all.
No.
He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it. And
yeah.
I think that's what finally made him realize at that moment when you see him and Carl get their guns back. Like, he hands Carl the gun, he holsters his gun. So he kind of realized that I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. Mm-hmm. Do you think they're actually ready for this?
I don't think Rick thinks he's ready. Rick probably thinks that Carl's ready, but I don't think Rick thinks Rick is ready.
Yeah. Carl proved that he's ready by grabbing the rifle. So Carl is 100% ready. Rick, I don't know. Things are a little shaky with him still. He's definitely not himself still.
No. I mean, he's...
Like you guys were even mentioning in pre-show, the Ricktatorship is gone. We need the Ricktatorship back. Not the Rickocracy.
But I think we need Rick back in a position of...
There's authority of some kind.
Contributing. He's got to get on that council because he's the one. He's got the good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's decisive, and I think with what going through, Daryl, who is now sort of like team leader, is going to start getting more indecisive. I think. Yeah. And I need Rick to pick up that.
Yeah, Daryl needs a little break. Maybe he needs to go farm for a little while.
Yeah,
I mean,
Daryl's turn to farm.
I mean, I think Rick is ready for it. He just doesn't know it yet. You know, he showed that way. I mean, who would have thought to just string out a path of pigs to lure zombies away from a fence so you could prop it back up with? I mean, I think he will be fine. He's going to take a little time to realize it.
He seems to act the best under pressure.
Absolutely.
So,
and it was very symbolic the way he burnt his. You know, he just destroyed his shirt. You know, his farming shirt.
Yeah.
Covered in blood.
Yeah.
Burned the whole pigsty down. Burned his shirt with it. Covered in blood still.
Yep.
You know. Yeah, it was definitely a very powerful scene there.
Mm-hmm.
But just before he burned all that stuff down, him and Carl had a little chat, and Carl actually ratted out Carol, which I didn't think he was gonna do.
I know.
I was really, really surprised. That shocked me. But what shocked me even more was Rick's reaction. Like, how did you guys take that?
I actually anticipated Rick to act like that because old Rick would have, gotten mad, done something about it. But this is new Rick, and he may have gotten his gun back, but he's not.
I think old Rick would have wanted the kids to learn defense. I think old Rick would have been all for it. New Rick, not so much.
Yes, but old Rick wouldn't have liked Carol going behind his back.
This is
wouldn't
true.
Like Carol not telling the parents. But this is new Rick.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm proud of Carl for doing it because Carol put him in a really crappy spot. I'm really starting to like Carol a lot less this so far.
I have a lot of. I'm sorry.
I'm starting to like Carol more.
Yeah.
Than before, because Carol she laid in the background and did nothing. She cried over her kid, and something happened to her over the winter.
Oh, what a terrible person to cry over your kid.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm not saying that wasn't wrong. She totally had every right to do that, but I'm saying she wasn't a character in the forefront. She was kind of in the background. She wasn't doing much because she was mourning over her kid. Not that that's wrong, but it's just a fact. That's what happened. Now she seems to be completely over it. She's over everything, and she's brought herself into the limelight. She's a main character now. And, she's always been a main character, but now she's part of the story. She's driving things along. So.
No, I mean that's all. I mean I love that. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that I don't really like. I mean I she lost brownie points when she called Lizzie weak. She lost me brownie points when she said that, when she put Carl in the middle of something that you don't really want to pit a kid against his own father,
But it's not lying, John.
Yeah, it's just the absence of the truth.
Not telling the truth.
I mean,
which Rick stressed to Carl, and Carl just kind of sat there going, the look on his face was like, "No, Dad, that's still lying."
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, that's the thing. I just really didn't like that she was trying to kind of push Carl in a weird spot for, it wasn't fair, honestly. Yeah. That's really what it was. It just wasn't really fair to Carl.
Yeah.
But with that being said, she's still kicking ass,
Yeah.
Carol's...
And I think all that stuff leaves room for character development. She's already developed, and she's still got more to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So, anything else for this episode, guys?
I'm just gonna be shitting bricks until the governor gets here. I'm gonna be looking around every corner.
Yeah, counting the days down for the governor's return. So, next episode, the episode's called Isolation. What do you think that might have some kind of reference to? This episode was infection, and it's very clear what that was. That they just threw you right into it. So what could isolation possibly mean? Obviously somebody's going to be isolated from the group, but who? They're
gonna start quarantining people.
Right.
Whoever's showing symptoms is gonna get quarantined because there's.
Maybe it's not the flu. Maybe they're gonna start isolating people that they think is burning bodies. Maybe. Yeah. No, that's true. But I think, because the thing they showed, next time on The Walking Dead, Herschel was saying that
talking about risk of infection. So I think that it's going to be more about quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also like I also have. It could mean more than one. You know, usually these episodes have to be more than one thing. So I'm also leaning towards what's going to see what happens with Tyrese. Like, could he maybe just be so distraught that he just goes off and he just leaves, you know, and maybe he just isolates himself or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he pulls a Michonne.
Yeah, and just dips.
Rides off into the sunset on a horse.
With a hammer in hand.
Dragging an axe. Yeah, so that's it. John, where can the people find you?
Well, not really anywhere. I don't really have a lot of social media going on. I mean, I got a Vine. It's Nahajum. If you want to check it out, go for it.
Were you taking lessons in Cleo's YouTube channel for
it's
trying to...
named backwards with an M. It's NHOJM. So if you want to look me up, I got a couple things on there. I have a Twitter. I never use it. No more. So if you want to check that out too, go for it. But don't expect much from me.
Cleo, can you tell everybody your really easy to remember YouTube channel first?
Yeah. Yes. Tell us about that.
Hey, I made this pre-Google. I had no idea I was actually going to put shit on it. Anyway,
I love this.
I'm at youtube.com/LIOSMFVIDS. And you can find me on most social media at Cleomoto. CLIOMOTO.
See, at least that one kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
It's got a nice ring to it.
Google won't let me merge my accounts, so...
Did you try emailing them? Talk to technical support. They might be able to help you out. Do everyone a favor.
Just the thought of talking to Google tech support frightens me.
It's better than talking to Comcast tech support.
But that's for another day.
Indeed it is. And you can follow us on youtube.com/ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Till next week, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.